the Saudi diplomat leaving the country even after being accused of committing a crime as serious as rape is not the first instance. We bring you examples from across the world where diplomats have gotten away by abusing diplomatic immunity. The first case of abuse of diplomatic immunity that comes to my mind took place in 1967, when the Burmese ambassador in Sri Lanka, he killed his wife because he suspected her of having an affair. The next morning, he was putting up a pyre, and that is when the neighbors called the police. But the police, when they arrived, the ambassador, he claimed diplomatic immunity, and by invoking diplomatic immunity, he prevented them from entering his house because he said that it was Burmese territory. Now, in front of the police as well as his neighbors, he burnt his wife, but he could not be touched or tried by the Sri Lankan police. So, diplomatic immunity is not just valid for the diplomat, but it also extends to his or her family members. Now, there is this case in 1981 when son of a Ghana diplomat who was posted in New York at the United Nations was accused of committing 2 rapes and was even charged later for committing up to 15 rapes and robberies in Upper East Side of Manhattan. However, because his father was a diplomat and he invoked diplomatic immunity for his son, he got away. So, the Gurgaon rape case is not the first instance where the Saudi diplomat has abused his diplomatic immunity. In fact, in 1983, a Saudi diplomat's son was accused of raping a 16-year-old in the US. The Saudi embassy then said that the son enjoyed diplomatic immunity and therefore, he had left the country. Later, he was spotted by the victim as well as a private investigator who gave photographic evidence of his presence in the US. This forced him to leave the country finally and escape the law and the legal systems in the US. So, we have seen examples of a diplomat abusing his diplomatic immunity and getting away with serious crimes, but we have some bizarre examples as well. One which we came across took place in 1987, when a diplomat from Barbados was posted at New York at the United Nations. He claimed diplomatic immunity for his dog. The reason? The dog, which was a German shepherd, he bit a lot of his neighbors in Pelham area in New York. And when the neighbors complained, the diplomat invoked the diplomatic immunity for his dog because he said that the dog was a family member, and also warned his neighbors of possible international consequences if any harm was done to his German shepherd. So, even a dog can get away because of diplomatic immunity. So, while in most cases diplomats have gotten away after committing serious crimes because they abused diplomatic immunity, there have been a few cases where the home countries have waived off diplomatic immunity so that the diplomat can face action. In one such case, a Georgian diplomat posted in the United States killed a 16-year-old girl in a car accident. It turned out that he was inebriated and was speeding. This led to a huge uproar, and the Georgian government was forced to waive off diplomatic immunity. He was tried in the US courts and served his sentence in America. In another instance, a Japanese consul general's wife turned up at the ER of a Canada hospital, and she had bruises on her neck and black eyes. So, she said that she was a victim of domestic violence. Now, when the police questioned the diplomat, the Japanese diplomat admitted to to beating her up and said that he had punched her. After this, he could not be tried because he enjoyed diplomatic immunity. This led to a huge uproar in the country, and he was sent back to Canada, where he was discharged by the court. But when he was recalled by Japan, he had his pay cut. Given that there are many diplomats who invoke diplomatic immunity after committing serious crimes, there is a need for reviewing the concept of diplomatic immunity, because the diplomatic immunity is not for an individual or personal benefit, but to discharge their official functions. Now, there have been suggestions to deal with this challenge. There is this proposal of setting up a diplomatic criminal court where diplomats can be tried at an international level for committing serious crimes, or even setting up a fund which compensates the victims. Now, it is time that this concept of diplomatic immunity is reviewed and re-examined as the UN meets for the 70th year since its establishment.